What is up, you guys? It is your boy Lucius from Toad Trap Tribe here, back with another installment of that Naruto Isekai Ultimate Survival Guide. And I want to make a quick disclaimer. I am a bit sick today, so if this video sounds weird, that is probably the reason why. But we're going to push through it because we have a lot to talk about today. So, like always, thank you so much for your support. We are close to 400 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for that. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I love talking to you guys down in the comment section. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, when last we left off, Neji noticed something odd about one of the elderly villagers that you confronted last night. It seemed that the man was carrying around a large bag of some unknown material. It turned out to be sulfur. Now, we noticed that there were sulfur deposits popping up all over this place in last episode, for reasons that will become clear a little bit later. But for now, the most important thing to note was that this elderly man demonstrated an odd amount of strength. He was able to push even Neji out of the way, and we know he's pretty strong for a Genin. Not only that, but Neji detailed that there was an odd spike in his chakra at the moment that he shoved Neji out of the way, eerily reminiscent to what Naruto did against him in the tuning exams, but not quite the same. Let's talk about a few key differences here. First of all, we the audience know that the only Jinchurikis that are introduced at this point in the series are Naruto and Gaara. Technically Kushina, I guess, but I don't think we know her name by this point, so we won't talk about that. And besides, she's dead. Dead as hell. What kind of nine tails does she have in her grave? The bottom line is that there are no Jinchurikis in this village. Nobody to host that kind of demonic chakra inside of themselves. So what's the reasoning for it? Well, in last week's episode, Neji spent a lot of time before this mission doing his prep work by researching the culture, history, all that jazz of this land and what's happened here. There were a lot of myths that a certain demon clan actually inhabited this land a long time ago and would return one day and reclaim it. What's most curious about this is that, from what we know, there is actually a demon clan in the Naruto universe known as the Onis. Now, these are traditionally in real-life lore and mythology, type of yokai that the Japanese view as a demon ogre-like figure. They carry around kanabos, they eat people, pretty metal. But what's interesting about this is that they are featured as a clan in Naruto lore, and this was something that I originally did not know until I looked into it. So, with that being said, note that the demon clan has been around for a long time. Like Otsutsuki clan long time, okay? And they're reported to have enhanced chakra, like monstrous chakra, and enhanced strength as well. Far beyond what a normal ninja would be able to produce. Which is why we see this boon from this old man, at least in theory. Now, we can gather this as the audience. You, Neji, Light Guy, and Tenten, however, will learn this a little bit more as they dig into this land's secrets. Now, Neji does report some of this to you. From what he can gather, he's building a hypothesis, a very cautious hypothesis about what's really going on here, but it's all just speculation. A guy like Neji isn't going to rush to any conclusions about some mythical demon clan that he hasn't ever heard of, right? Right. But upon sharing these findings with the priestess, Hikari, she actually does espouse some of the same rumors that Neji read about. And she is quick to tell you all that the town really does believe in this lore, and that they do fear one day that the Oni clan will come back and try and reclaim this land. They're a bit more of a nomadic type of people, which is why they haven't occupied it for centuries, seeing as how it would be very difficult for any other ninja faction to go and just challenge them for it, of course. But that would explain their current absence or vacancy. So as it stands, you've now put together the pieces of kind of what could be going on in this town. And it is based around myths and rumors from what you can understand, but the proof is kind of in the pudding. You've seen it firsthand now. No ordinary old man should be able to do the things that you saw this ordinary old man do, but he did. So what's really beneath the surface here? It doesn't really explain what was going on with all those sulfur rocks, though, does it? And my guy in 1010 reported seeing something similar, with other villagers carrying similar sacks of sulfur rock. So now that's going to be the next step, to figure out what it all is for. With the help of Hikari, you, Neji, and the guy in 1010 head over to the library, and you discover something interesting about the former inhabitants of this land. The sulfur that you were so curious to learn about is actually used in a ritualistic way, and it is used to summon what is considered to be one of the founding members of the Oni clan. Something that is not even shinobi anymore, but just truly monstrous, beyond human. So they were going to use all of this, of course, to summon a real Oni and bring it into the world that you reside in, which would be bad, right? Of course. Once you believe you have the information you need, you decide that it's time to get out of the library and prepare to try and get rid of all the sulfur in the town, if you can. That's when Neji notices something weird, and just out of precaution, he activates his Byakugan. It says next, frightens all of you. Although Guy doesn't show it, the entire library is surrounded by these old dudes that were carrying that sulfur the other day. And they're all positively radiating that same red chakra that Neji saw yesterday. They stand shoulder to shoulder around the library, completely barring off any passage or exit, but they make no move on the library itself. It looks like they just want to keep you in. Guy Sensei is the first to make a move, with Neji and 1010 falling closely behind. He opens the door to the library and steps out, though he makes a gesture for Neji and 1010 to stay behind. You observe, puzzled. You're not entirely sure what Guy Sensei hopes to accomplish by doing this, but he approaches the formation and, again, they make no move to attack him, so he asks them simply, what is going on here? The man who you accosted the day before is the one who steps forward to Guy Sensei and begins to speak, although he sounds completely different from just what he did yesterday. His voice is deep and harsh. The voice is tinged with a malice, as if you could incite this individual to violence just by looking at it the wrong way. He tells Guy that if he'd like, he can start making sacrifices early, and with that, he raises his hand into the air and begins to emit a faint glow. Once this happens, the other villagers surrounding the library begin to make the same hand sign simultaneously. They're all pooling their chakra into that one man, Neji shouts. Guy Sensei, being right next to the guy you'd expect to be close enough to react, but he just stands there. The man formerly known as Mizushi drops to his knees and begins to cry out in agony. You can see his skin begin to peel away and parts of red begin to bubble up on the surface. But it's not blood, it's skin. A horn begins to protrude from his forehead, and his eyes change from their deep brown originally to a new bright yellow. His nails begin to lengthen and sharpen to a point, and he finally stands back up to his feet. He lifts his head up to look at the rest of your group, and now you can finally get a good look at him. This truly is a demon. There's no more human. Whatever was left of Mizushi is gone. The other villagers that were being manipulated by the demon formerly known as Mizushi, all begin to hold their heads in pain and sink down to the ground. It seems like they've been released from whatever control they were under formerly. Neji notes that now Mizushi's chakra is absolutely massive, and it's that same red aura that you encountered before. 1010 shouts at Guy Sensei to try and get him to react or do something, but Neji then comments that Guy Sensei's been placed under a genjutsu, it seems, which is why he hasn't moved in a few minutes. Neji tells you all that we won't be able to stop this guy without Guy Sensei's help, so we need to break him out of that genjutsu as quickly as possible. He volunteers 1010 to be the one to disrupt Guy Sensei's chakra flow. You say that you'll move in and provide the distraction, you just need some cover fire. Before you're able to make a move towards your adversary though, a fireball comes hurling towards your group, giving you no time to react. Neji thankfully is quick enough to form a rotation that stops it dead in its tracks. However, The library that you were currently standing in has been completely destroyed. It's an open battlefield now. Tenten decides to act before the smoke can fully settle. She throws a few kunai out into the smoke and the demon just barely managed to dodge it. But that's when you come in from the side, thanks to that opening Tenten created, and land a kick right to his jaw. To your surprise, it does send him reeling back, but only slightly. It's enough for him to catch his composure and land a punch straight to your jaw in return, sending you crashing down to the ground. A moment later, Neji is hot on his trail, exchanging a few blows with taijutsu and doing a little bit better than you did, but eventually he's pushed back too. Don't understand, Neji says. I blocked off some of his chakra points in that exchange just now, but it's all still flowing normally. The monster chuckles openly. The famous Hyuga clan, he starts, and you can see Neji visibly recoil when something basically prehistoric just name drops him like that. Bro is shook. He begins telling you all that his clan has developed a technique that allows them to take over a host body and use it like a new set of skin. The problem is, the victims of this technique never survive. But because they're just conduits, the Oni clan members feel empowered to use these vessels and push them to their absolute utter limits, far beyond what a normal shinobi's body would be able to handle. And that's what's going on here. Every time Neji blocks a chakra point, he just floods it with more chakra. There's no backfire on a body that's going to get thrown away anyway. Tenten throws out a smoke bomb, trying to gain some distance between your group and the monster, but he just expels it all with just the force of his chakra. You all get sent flying away, but Guy's still standing in the same spot, and it looks like the monster's finally turned his attention to him. He's gonna get rid of him for once and for all. He pulls his arm back as if he's about to stab Guy Sensei with those pointed fingers. Blood splatters onto the ground. At first glance, you'd think he was successful, but upon closer inspection, you can see that Guy Sensei is clearly holding the monster's hand at bay. The blood must have come from the nails slicing his palms open. The monster, for the first time, has lost its cool and looks completely mortified by what's happening. Guy tightens his grip and you can hear bones crunch underneath the skin. Guy Sensei maintains eye contact with the monster for a moment and then slowly turns his head towards the east. Curiously, the monster decides to mimic his movements, but when he fully turns his head, he's greeted by a boot to the face. Guy moves so blindingly quick that in the scant moments where the monster turned his head and took his eyes off for a split moment, he was able to veer around the corner and kick him in the face. A bit of showmanship for y'all. But regardless, the monster is sent flying back from this. And once he manages to collect himself, he realizes that he has to end this quickly. He's not going to be able to take more hits like that in this old body. The monster closes his hands together, making a classic hand sign. You begin to notice the faint scent of rotten eggs. Once more, it's that sulfur. But what's he doing with it? He tells you that by combining his chakra with this sulfur rock, he can actually crush it up and form H2S gas. Pretty scummy. But, he's a demon, so why fight fair, right? For those of you who don't know, H2S gas in nerd language is just one sulfur atom combined with two hydrogen atoms. But it's a deadly gas. And depending on the concentration, it can drop a fully adult human in a few seconds. So this stuff is nothing to play with. The resident weapons expert is no stranger to poisonous gas and other forms of ninja subterfuge. So Tenten is quick to tell you all that this stuff likes to settle in low-lying areas. So the higher you can get, the faster you get, the better off. And you're all quick to reconvene on a nearby rooftop. And thanks to his Byakugan, Neji can actually see where this chakra is. So you're able to avoid the gas for now, but you can't run away forever. And thanks to his chakra control, he can just manipulate it and send it to wherever you are. Neji's rotation can only keep it at bay for so long. So you'll have to come up with a new plan. And of course, naturally, this scumbag has decided to shroud himself in the deadly gas, so that not even Guy Sensei can move in and drop him. You tell your group that you volunteer to create an opening, to which, of course, they ask how. None of them can really get in without inhaling some of that gas, to which you reply that you won't. You're gonna have to finish this assignment in about 1 minute, because you'll be holding your breath. A normal ninja could probably hold it for longer, but since you'll be literally fighting for your life and moving like a ninja, probably not going to be able to hold it as long. That's why you've got to finish this quickly. You tell them that the reach of your flame cloak technique might actually be able to pull him out of that cloud of gas without you even needing to be standing inside of it. But of course, you still got to get close enough to get him. It's my guy that studies you for a moment, and you wonder if he's going to admonish your plan or what, but he simply nods silently and tells you that you must go forward with the power of youth. With your sensei's support behind you, you rev up your flame cloak and you charge forward. The minute starts now. You launch a flaming arm towards Monster Mizushi, but he dodges it. He leaps into the air, and to your surprise, he unleashes a water-style bullet technique. You didn't know he could do that. And obviously that would spell the end of your flame cloak, so you gotta move quick. You dodge the first volley of 3. They splash harmlessly on the ground. 55 seconds. Monster Mizushi's chakra is getting denser by the second. That H2S gas is starting to reach its explosive range. You launch a fire-style dragon flame bombs technique, just to get him moving again. 50 seconds. To your surprise, he just stands there and tanks the attack in full. It looks like fire doesn't work on him that well. And because of that, you are ill prepared when he shows up inside of your guard and kicks you, sending you flying away. You have an idea, but it's going to be cutting things close. 45 seconds. Once that H2S gas reaches its explosive range, the resulting explosion might be enough cover for you to just reach in and grab Mizushi, but you're not sure how many seconds it's going to take for that to happen. Although you can definitely feel that the air is still getting heavier with chakra, so you'll just have to make him use up a bit more of it. 40 seconds now. You charge in again, this time going in for a simple taijutsu exchange. He bats you away like it's absolutely nothing, but he does send another water-style water bullet your way, to which you barely roll out of the way of. You look towards the direction of your attacker, but he's nowhere to be found. But at the corner of your eye, you catch a shadow. It gets bigger and bigger, and then you look up and see that Mizushi is hurling towards you, going for a sumo stomp. Sadly, he connects, knocking the wind straight out of you. 30 seconds now. He starts raining down punch after punch, sickly satisfied at the damage he's doing. At this range, you decide to go for the grab, but his fist flies in and connects with your nose, stopping your plans right in their tracks. Can't be more than 15 seconds now. Just when it looks like he's about to stab your heart with his hand, was trying to do to Guy Sensei. Spark appears between the two of you. This is the signal you've been waiting for, and you rev up your flame cloak to the absolute max. At the right moment, it sets off a brilliant explosion, completely encompassing the both of you. It doesn't cause much damage at all, except of course to the environment, but you're able to use this small distraction, and you grab him with your flame cloak. Multiple limbs shoot up through the earth and reach out and make sure he's properly restrained. The arms fling him out of the smoke and hurtling through the sky. You're not sure what Guy Sensei decided to do after that, but you're almost certain you can see him land literally 1,000 punches, completely eviscerating this man. He's done, he's cooked. Neji and Tenten quickly grab you and pull you out of the danger zone, and after a few minutes pass, it's finally safe to start breathing normally again, without having to move locations too much. While there was no more trace of the Oni's influence on Mizushi's body, there's been too much damage done to save him, unfortunately. Nonetheless, Hikari and the villagers thank you profusely for the work that you've done. You've done the Leaf Village pretty proud today, and you're a big reason why. Even Neji admits that you did a decent job. Tenten, of course, is very quick to remind Neji of everything he did correctly on this mission, which you roll your eyes at. But Guy Sensei tells you that he expects more of this on the next assignment. And he flashes you his signature thumbs up and a smile. Good work today, team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna do it for our little filler story. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next week for part 11. Thank you guys. Have a good one.